What's going on, gamers? My internet just came back. Comcast Business was out, so otherwise I would have had this video done. It's 5:09 p.m. here. I wanted to make it, but that other video, obviously I had that done like 2 days ago. Sometimes I make 3 videos in one day, so I'll have an extra one when I wake up and I put it on a little schedule and it does it itself. But you had Xbox fanboys coming in so insecure because Sony is ending physical disc production for new PlayStation games starting January 2028. Terrible news, obviously. And guess what? I'm a digital guy. I'm going to say from my point of view, I don't care because I'm going to do all digital, and I know everybody has a time limit here and you can't hold on to anything. But is this good news? No. And I'm going to explain why. There's a lot of history here with PlayStation. You're the biggest third-party supplier in the industry. Nintendo's the biggest physical supplier because they've always had a high physical ratio worldwide. Everybody knows this. They're the only ones preserving this. Xbox fanboys, shut your mouth. You've been done but gloating about Game Pass for a long time. You don't buy games. You don't buy physical copies. You stay on Game Pass 24/7. And you go to PC, you want to talk about PC player, shut your mouth. You have not been doing physical, and they've been killing physical media a long time ago. All Steam fanboys, you've been doing nothing but digital. All Xbox fanboys on PC, you're nothing but digital. Microsoft has been trying to kill physical media since 2013 with Don Matrick. Way too early. Sony's doing it because they see the ratio is like 85+% and high. But is this good? No, we got a lot to talk about here. This is going to be a long one. But come remember, leave a tip down below. Let's get into this. Yeah, this is terrible. First of all, we got the big, huge sign with GTA 6. And who's pushing this the biggest? With no physical. Sony and Rockstar. This been planned. I've been telling people this in my video with Nintendo doing a 10% salary raise that only physical media that's left is in the Nintendo world. If you think about digital, Sony's been promoting that the most with Microsoft and PC gaming. Only Nintendo has been fighting for physical copies on cart, straight up, on the go. If you look at any handheld that's coming out, let me know if that handheld's going to have physical. I'm waiting. Yeah, that's what I thought. Only Nintendo's doing that. So the point is that this does not surprise me, but is this good? No. PlayStation has a huge history. Well, PlayStation 1. You were the CD mover, Sony. You used to change the way physical media used to work. That was one of the biggest reasons why people were attracted to PlayStation. The disc. You see what I mean? What was one of the biggest selling points of PS2? DVDs. You could have it as a DVD player. And then PlayStation 3 with Blu-ray. Xbox was still doing regular. Sony was always moving physical, and they were a manufacturing company. That's physical. You're manufacturing to move hardware and CDs. Like, they were one of the companies that historically, when you think about it, they had the biggest medium for pushing this, like worldwide. And you have the biggest third-party support and platform historically from the beginning all the way to the end. All those people, like, you could look at it and say, oh, PlayStation is 85%. But what about that 15% ratio? Sony's just saying, hit that delete button. You know what I mean? This is the future right here. I'm just saying, that's what you're doing. Xbox been doing this since 2013. That's why I was telling people, like, when you think about somebody coming in and criticize, the only people that I think have a ground to stand on are those that want to support the people that want to fight for physical in the PlayStation world and those that are coming out of the Nintendo world. Nintendo gamers can say this all day because that's where the biggest support has always been for physical. To a certain extent, you guys will get what I'm saying. Like, Nintendo has always been key on that. Now, what Nintendo sucked with was backwards compatibility. That was something that I would hand to Microsoft that they did a good job with. Now, the funny thing is that don't think that Xbox gets a pass out of this. But it's like I said, they've been doing that for a while. What you think Game Pass Cloud was for? And why they're killing off hardware and trying to rent stuff from you and move stuff to the AI. They've been doing this. Now, Sony coming in is actually disappointing. I think this would have been decent, Sony, if you would have said, Sony is announcing end of physical disc production for new PlayStation games starting January 2028. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you the option to get a disc drive for the PlayStation 6 so that you can play PlayStation 5 physical games and PS4 physical games. PS3, we don't know. But if you do something like that, at least you're still supporting the older games. The bad part of that would have been just games going forward. But if you look at the majority of the gaming industry, people who do Netflix and all that, people who do mostly digital, they don't really care because it's not going to affect them. But that does not mean that this is not huge for other people. There's still millions of people that buy physical games. And that's not small. That's a lot of people. But in the Xbox, well, look at that ratio. In PlayStation, that's the thing. So I'm not here coming to defend that because I'm like, no. I'm just telling you, like, from my subjective standpoint, which does not represent the whole gaming community and the whole physical crowd, which I'm backing you up. I I don't agree with this move. What does this mean? Let me explain something to you. Let me tell you what they're doing. All right, then we're going to get into like Xbox fanboy comments. We're going to get into PlayStation fanboy comments. We're going to get into it's a lot of stuff in this topic that needs to be covered. And I want you guys to think about that. Okay, so when you end physical disc production, basically what you're doing, and this is something Nintendo wins on again, you're taking full 100% profit without needing to worry about manifesting copies, right? You don't have to pay Walmart. You don't have to pay Target. You don't have to pay Best Buy. You don't have to pay Amazon. You see where I'm going with this? You don't have to worry about any of that. It doesn't cost you money, and you don't lose any money on every physical copy, plus the disc you have to manufacture. But when you're going digital, you get full 100% profit. Sony is trying to find ways to still make up for a certain market. But I tell you, see, these are the alternative methods. The way you look at it, no matter what method they chose, everybody gets screwed over in a certain sense. When you think about GTA 6 not having a midnight release, the locality that's being killed, and everybody's just being digitized. I know there's some people that want to own things. I know people bring it up. They just shut down all those movies and aspects on the PlayStation media section, watch section. How do I know you can't do that to me with other games in the future? Then resell them and keep the price at 70. I saw post by Porter Rock, post by MBG, and a couple other people saying sometimes I like the physical media because this game physically is on sale for $35, but digitally it never goes to that price. Sometimes cheaper because of digital, and they just want to get out the store. And Amazon can do that, and other manufacturers are able to do that. With digital, you're paying that full price, and they're getting 100% profit. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of factors to look at. It's Sony looking to make more money, but you made more money historically. It's not like you're broke or anything. Microsoft, on the other hand, it's even worse. So we see it right here. Sony Interactive Entertainment announced that physical disc production for all new games on PlayStation consoles will cease in January 2028. What Sony is also telling you is that PlayStation 6 is also coming out in 2028. Why would you do this before PlayStation 6 comes out? No, PlayStation 6 is launching in after 2027. I told you it's not going to be 2027. That's why I didn't pay attention to those people. It's like, no, man, it's not happening. With new titles available only digitally thereafter. The decision applies to all publishers and does not affect games released before 2028. Sony's coming out and getting it out the way. I think that it's smart to do it now and not do it before you launch a console. You would have affected yourself big time. I see certain people saying that I can get a PS6. I don't believe you. Because I'm still getting one because I'm digital anyways. I don't care. And it saves me room. And I don't like having to worry about a disc. I like the digital world. The only thing I don't like is if I can't trust you with license. But if there wasn't a problem, what's the problem? You see what I mean? But if you have to pick up that box, you have to open it up, and you have to take it out. If you like that, bro, nobody has to look at everything the same way. That's a subjective thing. It's not about objective truth. It's about if that's what you like doing, you have a right to feel that way. If you like the right to have an option, it's not necessarily wrong. Saying that, hey man, this is physical $30. This is $70 right now. Games may be $80 in the future. Everything is because how stupid this market is. And I get this physical like this, or get a discount or something because I work here, or he works here. He gives me his manager discount. I'm just saying. But with digital, it's only up to them. You don't get a choice or option. I was reading everybody's posts, and I'm trying to be empathetic about them. Like, okay, you guys have some good points of view. It's not just about AGN coming in here trying to defend Sony. So, man, I'm not doing none of that because I don't agree with this. This is literally the history of gaming historically, though. That's been physical for way longer than digital. So I think that legacy should always be respected, but obviously it's not. So we're going to get to a lot of things here. So this is why we had to kind of get to this. There's a lot of posts here. Like this guy says right here, Sony is charging $70 for God of War Ragnarok digitally. It is $32 at Walmart. The game is 4 years old. People will no longer have options after 2028 and will have to go directly to Sony's digital storefront and pay whatever PlayStation says. Xbox is working on a disc to digital future that allows players to get digital copies. Everything is moving to that. If you're a PC, you have to do that. They're just saying, chew it up in there and become digital. But that's not the worst part. Look, we're about to get to something else. AGN has to take you somewhere real quick. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go right over here. According to a new report, Xbox is also abandoning physical media with this next console. So I try to tell you guys, if it's going to be a PC, a helix means two DNA aspects that are spiraling like this. That's PC and console, and they're trying to blend it into that. Microsoft's done with consoles. They're not going to subsidize either. They have been pushing this for a while. Game Pass is the idea of not owning anything. Cloud is the idea of not owning anything. DRM lockdown is the idea of not owning anything. This has been in this world, but it's huge when it comes into PlayStation's world. I see almost 1 million posts on the Twitter right. I'm like, man, I've never seen something that huge. That's way bigger than the DRM lockout that people thought was happening. It's crazy right now. But do you think that Microsoft has not been trying to kill physical media forever? They have. They've been trying to control you and get you to move to cloud and digital and rent you. And you have no ownership. Ubisoft said this a while ago. All of them are doing it. And Xbox and PlayStation are teaming up secretly and doing this with Rockstar with GTA 6 because that's the biggest launch of all time. And they're not doing physical. You already got your signs right there, Xbox fanboys that are sitting here thinking that, oh, I feel bad. Like that retard game show. But I've been wrong 97% of the time. I can never correct myself. I just want one little angle to feel better about my 24/7 mistakes nonstop. Because I got stomped and beat so bad and been made a fool, I ain't never admitted it. Oh, I want to go make peace, man. Get on, you're a fraud. Ain't nobody take you serious, clown. You can't even make original content. You ain't got a single video that's done by you covering a topic from your own soul. If it's got any light in it, it's all reacting off of other people's pre-made content and harassing people 24/7 off the camera. You ain't never showed up on a live stream to face Porter Rock when he called you out. You ain't never showed up on a live stream to face me either because you can't debate. You just want to talk mess off the camera and wait for somebody else to make the content and not make a thumbnail. It don't get no more brain dead than that. Don't nobody take you serious. Get your punk ass on. Let's keep going here. According to a new report, Xbox is also abandoning physical media with this next console. If it even gets here. Now you know they're not going to throw away Xbox and sell it off. You got one huge day of PlayStation with negative news, but Microsoft 30 days in a row, and Xbox fanboys are looking for something to cope on after taking loads from Microsoft. Because it still has to be, oh, PlayStation did the worst thing of all time. Man, you did that in 2013. All of it's bad. What makes it worse on PlayStation at the moment today is that you got the biggest third-party publishing platform in the industry. So there's a lot of people in your world outside of the exclusive agenda that most people, when you think about Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, outside of Nintendo and mobile, they play third-party games. And Sony, you have the biggest space for that. So you're screwing over the biggest publishing third-party community by announcing this. But you're not doing it today. You're not doing it in 2027, but you're letting them know when it comes to next gen in 2028, get prepared. But could Sony reverse course though? It's possible. They could reverse course. We've seen it happen before. I see people talk about what you did to beat Xbox One. When you say, here, it's easy to share a game with somebody. This is not the Sony today doing that because they're not there. These are different people. It's a different industry. You got people like, they only really care about profit and are looking at the gaming industry as numbers and business now, more than ever, outside of the Nintendo platform. And I'm like, this is 100% true. Like, Hideaki Nishino, don't get me wrong, I like him, and Totoki and all them, but those are all guys about numbers and business. That's why they were allowed to share with PC. Now, Sean Layden, even though he said what he said about PC lately, I understand what he's saying, but back then, Shuhei Yoshida, they were about business. I'm beating Xbox, I'm dominating. It's about PlayStation. You see what I mean? And the older people, even Jim Ryan back then when he was okay, Andrew House, you see what I'm saying? Like we could go all the way back when the Japanese connection was actually powerful and see that they actually cared about gaming in a different way compared to now. Same thing in the 360 era. They actually cared about gaming in a certain sense. PlayStation still does in a certain sense, but Xbox, Microsoft, forget about it. They don't give a damn about gaming. Everything left in there has nothing to do with gaming. It's all AI. And all this other stuff, politics, and however you want to look at it, digital stream, cloud, data centers, nothing gaming though. They don't care about that. They just want to get their money and get their money back and be done. You could tell these people in Xbox, they don't know anything about gaming that's left over. All the ones that left over, Phil Spencer was not for this. That's why he left out. He had to leave. He knew this was going to happen. He knew about the shutdowns that were going on too. Xbox still has the biggest bloodbath going. This is happening right now. Sony could actually reverse this decision and actually give you a physical disk drive as an option. But what Xbox is doing is permanent. And what this is, they're not going to reverse this because it's going to the PC route. This is the difference where I try to tell you between the two right now. And don't tell me I'm defending PlayStation because you know exactly I'm right. Microsoft's not going to do that. and they're not going to subsidize. Sony's still going to subsidize in a lot of way, and they need to think very carefully about what they posted today. I'm telling you, like, this is something that could actually affect you in a certain sense. Look at how huge it is. It's huge right now. So going down here, got to so your headline is negative, but does not have the full truth because you guys want to protect PlayStation. Xbox has a disc to digital program where Helix that needs community noted. What are you talking about, bro? The console is not going to have a disc drive, which is why they're making that program. They're still telling you whatever you have left, you ain't physically owning it anymore. You're giving it to me and I'm sending it to your profile. Try to trade it after. You can't. It's the same thing from 2013. Except the difference here now is that this is actually coming without a physical disk drive because it's a PC. It's not the same as PlayStation. But what makes the PlayStation worse is the fact that, like I said, you have a bigger community to take care of. It's bad. You're affecting way more people. Xbox community is so low. There's not that many people left over. Now, Sony has a community where every generation you're selling over 100 plus million. And you have all this third-party publishing going on. So you have a bigger pool that is going to be affected. Starting with GTA 6. You guys are pushing that together. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can see the biggest sign right there. So, PlayStation is 85+% digital. 15%. Well, look, man, I'm sorry, but because whatever I get to focus out of that, I'm still going to make way more than I ever could imagine. They know this too. And they're telling you that, but they still need to think about it. That's why I said, I think the people that are backing this up are not just a physical crowd because people got to make content. I'm all digital, but I'm still going to say things the right way. It's also people from the Nintendo world. It's also grifters from the PC world. I'm like, why are you even talking about it? I still get physical games on Nintendo Switch too and stuff like that. But I'm not the type to say, I'm going to get all these physical copies. No. It just depends on the deals. That's why I say it's still a nice option to have. And there's people that were kind of like giving me comments like, I like to get the physical collector's edition of things. You're taking away that option. I think that's a special thing that could happen. I like midnight releases. All that dies when that goes away. The GTA 6 launch is going to be full digital. There's not going to be anybody to hang out for that one big party event. That's all going away. Sometimes those moments are nice. You see what I mean? But it's all gone now. Like I said, the locality of gaming, arcades, everything, it's all shut down. They're making more money than ever too. Think about it. That's what I say. The physical is gone. But guess what? They got microtransactions and they're making way more than ever. And they said that 5 years into the console generation. Sony said that. Yeah, man, that's the problem. So he says, I'd rather wait for Xbox to address it themselves than believe a clickbait post. Dude, it's everywhere. That's what Microsoft is doing. How can a PC have a physical disk drive? Microsoft been done with physical. They've been trying to kill it for a long time by promoting Game Pass and trying to turn it into a Netflix. Do you think that anybody that gets on Netflix every single day is thinking about going to get a DVD or Blu-ray? It's changing your mentality. It's making you comfortable. You don't even want to support games. Digitally, you don't even want to buy anything. You just want to rent everything. That's what Game Pass is. It's no physical. It's no support. It's renting everything and all you can eat buffet. The Series S, the most owned console, has no disk drive. And that sold more than the Series X easily. Like I said, they have been doing it. What's disappointing is seeing the way Sony is going to do it. Then Microsoft makes it clear we're continuing it. So trying to push that deeper. See? I don't want a digital download code. I want a physical disc. But we're going to go back to some PlayStation posts, though. That's one of the posts, though. You see what I mean? Guys, once again, Xbox is working on a digital feature. They will let those with physical disc copies secure a digital version. They're still trying to move you to digital. There's no way of getting away from this. Now you're going to have a rack with a whole bunch of cases with no disc in it. Boy, if you saw that when you were younger, man, who stole my damn game? Yeah, right? You see what I mean? And that's what people were saying. You still got a big physical crowd out there. Now, we got a lot to talk about here. That's why I said Xbox will also eliminate disc. MBG says, I can't believe seeing some gamers cheering for a digital-only future for gaming. Like, even if you love digital, you have to know the importance of options. That's what I'm saying. Fan Helsing says, I won't sell them. They're going to be worth a lot in the future. There's always collectors. Exactly. Things become collector's editions. People will say, oh man, I can't get that anymore. It's gone. So it's a collector's item. I still got my Super Nintendo, my NES, my Nintendo 64, my Sega Dreamcast, my original Xbox. Yeah, I still have all that stuff. And all my memory cards, all that. Does it play? Don't feed the trolls. Sales numbers don't lie. You're not going anywhere, of course. They better change this now. Play has no limits. PC gaming and mobile gaming are huge. The majority of games don't use disc. I love getting physical media more so for things that I really like, but my PC library is way bigger than my physical media right now. Yeah, you're just being an honest PC guy. That's what I'm saying. Look, if you add up the combination of mobile, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and look at the digital ratio, and then look at physical, it is very slow, but they're just wanting to sacrifice the rest of it. And that's making a lot of people mad. You still have to care about that type of community. I get what you're saying. Like I said, for myself, it's not affected me like this, but I understand multiple points of view. And that means that, like, when you talk to somebody like me, we can look at different perspectives and say, this is still important in this world and it is going to affect you. That's why you got to be honest about it. I'm not just making this video to just make content. No, I have to really give my honest takes on it and try to cover as many angles as possible. So we see a lot of people posting what they want to say to MBG and what he said on this post right here. If you go to MBG's page, actually, he's posting a lot about it, which is interesting. He says, do not forget, this is how Sony won you over. Do not forget, this is what they stood firm on and why we cheered. Make them reverse the decision to end physical PlayStation games. Don't let Sony get away with this. Not buying PlayStation 6. Now, I don't believe that, but I believe MBG is being smart. Reminder, Sony wanted to shut down the PS3 store when the PlayStation 5 released. They reversed course due to pushback. They tried to force PC players to link PSN accounts for Helldivers 2. They reversed course due to pushback. That's what I was saying. They could actually reverse the decision. I'm hoping that they do. Otherwise, yeah, this right here, this is just they're kind of being hypocritical. But we don't have the same people there, do we? Yeah, you see what I mean, guys? Porterback says, I don't understand why the gamers who went all digital are having issues with gamers who still prefer physical disc. Let them do their thing. What Sony did doesn't impact you. Let the people who prefer to still have their physical do their thing. We've seen Sony backtrack before. He's saying the same thing. But that's what I'm saying. Those people are impacted. You have to also back them up too because they're gamers just like you, but they just want to still game that way. That was the only way to game before. There's something to that you don't want to kill off. So we got Charlie Intel. New report states Xbox Next Generation Project Helix console will not have a disk drive. You see? So we have a lot of this going on here on both sides. Just says, PlayStation kills physical games as Xbox and Sony continue making poor decisions. Ain't no one cares. Today is about Sony screw-ups. It's all GTA 6's fault. The moment they announced no disc, PlayStation and Xbox announced it shortly after too. I was going to try to tell you, Rockstar started that hugely because they have one of the biggest launches of all time. And when you see that type of influence come upon you and you seeing all these people get the $100 Ultimate Edition that you're paying for, Sony's like, okay, but they would have done that whether Rockstar did that or not. I still think so, but maybe not. I don't know. Cause you would think, hey man, at least give me an option. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, like Sony right now, give them an option. If you give somebody an option, okay. At least for backwards compatibility support. That's all I'm saying. Took 2 hours for all this to become about Xbox as always. Microsoft don't let you wait for too long anyways. Look, I'll tell you, this company is not going to allow you to do that. They're going to come out and give you negative news. Like, it's crazy when you think about it. Like, they can't let PlayStation get cooked for too long. Every content creator that's been in the gaming industry long enough, even if you weren't making content and you've watched other people, you know that here comes Microsoft. 30 straight days in a row. Hey, man, I'm just saying, just guys, just think about it. They do. So they could have gone the other way with the news from PlayStation, but no, that's what I'm trying to tell you. No matter how you look at it, Microsoft's going to jump in. They don't care. If you knew Microsoft in the 90s, you wouldn't be surprised. So you will own nothing and be happy. Boycott this crap. Don't buy PlayStation or Xbox. You idiots gobble up anything. That's why these companies do crap like this. Well, yeah, you vote with your wallet. Like I said, GTA 6 support, they just know how to manipulate the crowd. They know what they're doing. So there it is, guys. I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. Adrian came in. He made his video. You thought I wasn't going to make that video? You're crazy. It's here. I mean, will Sony change their mind? They've done it before. Guys, let's all hope they do. There's still a lot of people in the PlayStation world that buy physical copies. But more than ever, you have been insulted with the code in the box. What am I getting up and driving and wasting gas and going over there for if I could just download it digital and not have to enter a code? You see what I'm saying, man? Why I need to take that risk for? This code may not... Well, digital, I can just straight up get it. I don't need to enter a code. Yeah, man, I always thought that was stupid. So you just troll me with this box? Yeah, nah, man, I'm not with this. But with Xbox, like I said, that's they've been doing that. That if that would have just came out today, obviously I would have talked about it. But that doesn't shock me. The way Sony kind of did this shocked me a little bit, but it didn't shock me fully because, like I said, just take a look around with the Portal and everything else, and look how much they talk about digital. Just saying. So yeah, guys, become a member. Leave a tip down below. Hit that hype button. Like, comment, subscribe. As usual, Xbox fanboys. You ain't got no room to talk. You've been gloating about Game Pass and no physical media. PC fanboys can't say anything. Only Nintendo gamers and only PlayStation gamers who buy physical copies, or people who want to back up physical gamers, or if you're a part of that physical crowd on Xbox still, I can understand. You can talk. Or you want to do the same thing I'm doing. You're all digital on Xbox, but you still think those are gamers too and you care. Later, y'all.